What's going on, YouTube? It's time for episode 14, I guess, of the season for the Hurry Up Offense. We're here to preview week 14 of the NFL season. DJ Wingert, of course, joined as always by JT and Mason. Guys, how have we been? I got a couple questions to ask you guys, but let me just start with the easy one. How's the last 7 days treating y'all?
Great. Fantastic. Didn't get to watch the Vikings this past weekend, which is a good thing.
You weren't hungry for some more Dobbs in your life?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, we've hit the maximum intake. Yeah. Mason, how the last week been for you?
No, life's good, man. I was trying to stay busy. As a Pats fan, watching last weekend, it was great, man. We lost 6-0. We covered the spread, made it look like we were trying to win the game. I feel like I said the same words last week, but that's the way it is now. So been good though.
That's what you got UNC basketball for. That's what exactly. You got UNC for. And they're going to get you dubbed tonight. So real quick, before we get into the actual fun of it, I just kind of want to get y'all's initial thoughts. Let's start with the controversial one. We were just talking about college. So college football playoff. I know y'all's stance on this and you guys know mine, but just for those who are watching, kind of give me the quick synopsis where we stand on Bama coming in at 4. JT, take it away.
Well, I feel strongly against FSU getting absolutely hosed and not being able to play. I don't know. I liked a tweet that I saw, and I sent it to you guys, the same thing. It's like, if you're going to call it a college football playoff, an undefeated team from a Power 5 has to be in. If you want to call it the college football invitational, then invite whoever you want to make the most money. Right. So just on that alone, I just don't see how Florida State's not in it. But I could go on for an hour and I could do a diatribe with like a PowerPoint and keep going. But I'll save that.
If you guys want to watch that, just drop it down below in the comment section. JT and I will do a special video on just that. Yeah. Mason, I know you kind of feel in a similar situation. Have your thoughts changed at all, or are you just kind of right there? You feel like FSU got hosed?
Oh, they absolutely got hosed. You just can't take that away from all the other players, minus Jordan Travis. Like, it's just unbelievable. But like JT said, I can go on for hours, but we got more football to talk about.
And I mean, you guys know and like JT, you sent that tweet from Mike Renner too, which kind of encapsulated it. It's like, if you were going to do this, just like, why'd we play the season? Like this was as predicted preseason. So, that kind of sucks from that standpoint. My thing has always been, and this goes back to, God, I think 2018, 2019. I've been lobbying for like, why do we not have a 16 playoff? Like, I never understood that. You have a Power 5 conference that it makes all the sense in the world. You get your 5 conference winners, assuming they're deserving. And then you get your wild card, you get your Cincinnati, you get your Boise State, you get your UCF, you get your whatever in there. So I never understood it. And this felt like a missed opportunity for the NCAA. They're an organization who always needs PR brownie points. And they could have just been like, guess what? We're authorizing an emergency expansion. We're going to have 6 teams get in. That means we're going to have these 2 bowls be a part of the college football playoff. We're going to be played here. Here's the bid for the net. Like, it felt like an easy win, and college football fans would have been like, yes, the NCAA has given us what we wanted. Like, thank you. So it feels like a huge missed opportunity in my standpoint. But I never understood, when you have a Power 5 conference, how you can have 4 teams make the playoffs. You understand why the Pac-12 dissipates. You understand why these teams are leaving the Pac-12, because they're always the odd man out.
Well, Florida State's gone from this is kind of sealing the deal. They're gone from the ACC.
And I mean, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before, I don't know if they'll stay called the SEC and the Big Ten, but it's just going to be those 2 power conferences. It's just going to be.
The AFC, NFC, honestly.
No, legitimately. And at that point, let's just redo it and let's just draw it right down the middle. It's just like midpoint of Kansas, West.
The East and West.
Yeah, just do what the NBA does. All right, cool. Now, the other thing I want to talk to y'all about, MVP and Heisman. I don't really feel too strong about MVP. I think right now, Tyreek Hill actually is kind of convincing me maybe he should be the first non-quarterback in a while.
That's my lean.
AP. I think I lean towards Tyreek. If not him, I think Dak's really kind of deserved it. That being said, I feel like Dak's going to have some regression to the mean. So I'm kind of baking that in. That's not really fair. If Dak keeps it up, give it to him. I'll go Tyreek. And then for the Heisman, I want to get y'all's thoughts on that. But I'll go Jaden Daniels for the Heisman right now. I don't have any strong takes against Daniels there. So Mason, what are your thoughts on those 2 awards?
I agree with you on the first 2 of Tyreek and Dak. You hit some good points there, so I won't overstep at all, because like you were saying, Brock Purdy is at the top right now. We both disagree with that. So I think
that's just dumb.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. And as far as Heisman, TJ, I'm actually surprised you weren't saying Michael Penix.
Dude, I love me some Michael Penix. But like,
Penix would be my favorite, to be honest, just because they haven't lost.
He's not mine. I was shocked by TJ's response. Penix is
like going into that Washington Oregon game, you had good sense to bet on Oregon. For those who don't know, I won $10 off Mason this week because of Washington beating Oregon. He got $10 out of me the week before that because of Oregon beating Oregon State. But anyways, like Washington hadn't been playing as good, so like I get it. And to me, like Jaden Daniels just hasn't had a misstep along the way, in my opinion. So
that's fair. I feel like I don't know. Going into last week, I was kind of low on Penix, but he kind of proved to me that like he's the real deal. He's the man of the offense. So I think Penix would be my guy, but I don't know. He got into the playoff, but I know they're not going to look at that because Jaden Daniels 2 losses. So I don't know.
True. JT, what do you think?
Yeah, MVP, I'd probably lean Tyreek Hill. Just the numbers. He hasn't had a bad game. And you can't argue, to me, right now, you can't argue he's the most important player of any team or like the most valuable player, like quite literally, is Tyreek Hill.
Oh, dude, like we were talking about last week, I remember Tua before he got Mike McDaniel and Tyreek Hill, and he looked like shit. Then he got like an offensive guru, and then he got Tyreek Hill, and then like things have fallen into place.
I would maybe put McCaffrey as my number 2. Just because of the versatility and he just carries that offense kind of along.
Sure.
I know Debo had a big game, but I don't know. I still put McCaffrey up there. And then I don't know beyond that, to be honest, because I think this year it should not be won by a quarterback. I'll put it that way.
And I mean, I think
quarterbacks have a flawless season.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also so tough to judge the position because like you could say Tua, but it's like, if you take away Mike McDaniel, Tua is like below replacement level to me. Mm-hmm. I think it's the product of his system, which is fine. He orchestrates it perfectly. Same thing with Brock Purdy. So like, how do you take all that out of the equation and say that's the best player in the league? Like that's the guy who's the MVP. So I'm kind of with, and I think the stat that kind of nudged me fully in the Tyreek direction, he is on pace to play less snaps this season than Megatron did by week 11, the year he broke the NFL receiving yard record for a season. By week 11. And Tyreek's playing an extra game this season. He's got an extra game on the calendar, and he's on pace to play less than Megatron by week 11. That's insane. So I think that's kind of what nudged me in the direction for Tyreek. Anyways, let's get into the meat and potatoes while we're actually here. Let's preview week 14 of the NFL season. Mason, it's interesting. Thursday Night Football starts with, a game that should have a lot of vested interest in this podcast. 2/3 of us care about who comes out with a win here. But I also think this is a game that might set back offensive football like 50 years and all the progress we've made. This is going to be ugly. We have Mitch Trubisky hosting Bailey Zappi and a matchup for the ages. Steelers favored by 6. I can't trust the Steelers with a 6-point, advantage, especially with Mitchell Trubisky. So I think the Steelers win, but this is a spread that I can't touch to save my life. Also, final note on this, the line right now is at 30. We have not had a game this year that has a total that starts with a 2. This should be the first one. This should definitely be 29.5, if you ask me. Anyways, let me get off my soapbox. Mason, what do you think?
Yeah, that's I peaked the total at 30. That's why I was geeking. That's absurd. But I mean, like you just said, it's going to be 2 quarterbacks who don't deserve to be on the field. But the Patriots are coming off 2 straight games of covering the spread. Obviously, we're trying to lose at this point, so I think they'll cover 6 again somehow, some way. They'll make it seem like we're trying to win the game, but I just can't trust the Steelers to win by more than 6, like you said, even at home. So I'll take the Pats with the 6 points.
All right, JT, I got to know, do you have the stomach to bet anything in this game, or is this just I'll watch it for humor?
I think I like the Steelers -6. I don't know why. I think I like Trubisky more than – I don't think the replacement value of Trubisky to Pickett's that different. And with Pickett, I'd give them. I think they cover the 6. But I saw a tweet that was like, if you're betting on this game, like you should probably call the gambling hotline. You have a problem if you're betting on the Patriots and Steelers.
That's it's like I can quit at any time, and then you live bet the Steelers Patriots that game. Like that's like
we're gonna do it.
Honestly, I might still just to do it, but.
That Twitter, yes, it's still got some gems in there. That's gold. Yeah, so I mean that game's gonna suck, but I have a holiday party, so I'm gonna be elsewhere, so to speak. All right, let's get into the Sunday slate. Lions at Chicago. I'm actually surprised this is a line that's only at 3. So I'll get out of the way. I kind of like the Lions. I think they kind of got back on track. I don't think the Bears pass rush is all that great. So I think pocket should be clean for Jared Goff. I'll take the Lions on the road. JT, what do you think?
Yeah, early lean last week was Lions -4 against the Saints. They dragged them. I think they do the same thing to the Bears. It's just a huge talent gap. The number's not where it should be. I think it should be 7.5. Somewhere around there at 3. I'd love the Lions again. I'll probably play that one again this week. They're just a good team. That's a playoff team playing a non-playoff team, and it's only 3-point spread. That's kind of how I look at it.
Mason, what are your thoughts?
Soldier Field is an outdoor stadium, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the weather definitely could be a bitch.
Yeah, the only thing I'm
That's
thinking
something to monitor for sure.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking it's at 3 is because of like weather, but I don't know. Like you guys said, like it makes no sense. So I think I gotta trust the Lions here with getting 3 points. And I think the Bears' last game was it against the Vikings, JT?
Yeah, they beat us. We
That
just
Monday night game. or
horrendous,
whatever.
and yeah, they didn't even play particularly well.
I didn't watch it. That's what I was
Weird.
asking. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was just like it's about what we're gonna see with the Patriots Steelers. That's what happened. Vikings Bears 2 weeks ago.
I gotcha. But yeah, I'll take the Lions on the road. Should be able to cover the 3 points.
Yeah, kind of surprised that line's so low. I know division games play weird, but it feels like there's something that I don't know into this one.
5:39, snow showers in the afternoon is what it's saying right now.
So snow, that does change things, but honestly, I think I trust the Lions run game even
Yeah, the Lions
than I
run
like
game
Chicago.
elite. So
That offensive line, yeah, I think it's the best offensive line in football. It's them in Philly. Like, yeah, I'll buy into the Lions even more than honestly. All right, next one, battle between the R's, the Rams and the Ravens. Dude, don't look now. The Rams are kind of hot like right now. Like McVay's in his bag. I think McVay right now is on a roll, like a roll that probably rivals the Super Bowl play calling run. And I'll take him getting 7 points. Like we just saw him go toe to toe with one of the other best defenses in the NFL. I think he can do the same thing against Baltimore and Mike McDonald, who's been a great DC this year. I'll take the Rams getting the 7 points. JT, what do you think?
I love the Ravens at home this year. 7 points is kind of rich, so I don't know that I would bet the 7 point line. I'd probably
Teaser leg.
Yeah, either teaser leg, just use the money line. I think the Ravens get it done at home. I think the Rams kind of will come back to earth a little bit against a better defense against the Ravens at home. I don't know. The Ravens just seem to play better at home anytime I watch them or anytime I tune in. I think the total's kind of low at 40, to be honest. I think that could soar over, especially used as a teaser leg as well. That might be a good play as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I like the over in that game a lot. Mason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, JT hit on it. I think the Ravens are one of the best home teams in football this year. So I think, like you said, TJ, the Rams are kind of hot, scoring a lot of points as of late, but now they got the Ravens on the road, better defense. So I do like the over 40 as a good play for me, but also the teaser route too. But I think they keep it close, 7 to 20 points.
And I mean, the Rams have a playoff pulse right now, so they have incentive to go out and try to win this game. All right, next up, Houston, favored by 5.5 on the road against the Jets. JT, you love this Jets defense, so like, where do we stand on this one? Because this really feels like it could be a special matchup. Stroud versus that Jets defense could make for an actually entertaining game.
I think that CJ Stroud, just when I watch him like mechanically, just some of his like footwork and release ability are elite. And I think that that's going to kind of negate some of the pressure from the Jets. And I don't think their offense is going to keep up, frankly. So I kind of like the Texans minus 5.5 just because of the putrid offense of the Jets. So I think that's where I'd kind of lean. The over under at 33 is hilarious. Like that's so sad. But I think I'd lean Texans minus 5.5, even though they're on the road.
Fair enough. Mason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Tank Dell going down for the year is really sad for the sport of football. He was having a hell of a year, but I think I'm in the same boat as JT to win by 6 on the road. Yeah, the Jets defense is good. It's probably one of the best defenses Stroud will face this year. But yeah, I trust the Texans way more than I do the Jets, and we don't even know who the quarterback is going to be for the Jets this week. So it's probably Zach Wilson again. So we all know how that's going to go. But yeah, give me the Texans. Keep it going.
Speaking of great tweets, I just saw like a screenshot and it was like Zach Wilson to Robert Saleh, and it was like a conversation with like someone's manager, and it was like we're understaffed for Saturday or Sunday, and he's like, "That's crazy though. Good luck. Like
That's crazy.
I hope that works out for you, dude." Like I was like, "That's gold." But yeah, if they go back to Zach Wilson, I think that epitomizes the season for the Jets. Like, how rough is that? So I don't even think they should bring back Rodgers. There's just no point. They're not going to make the playoffs at this point.
No, they definitely shouldn't bring back Rodgers.
Yeah. He's the oldest player in the league other than Jason Peters. Like, it's only going to be bad things that happen potentially. So, no, I think I'm with you. I think if you're going to bet the Jets, do Jets first half. I can see the defense holding its own for 30 minutes. eventually they're going to get tired. I think Stroud balls out basically from that point on. So I'm with you on Houston. Also, Houston -5.5, great teaser leg, because then you're just getting them in a pick. There's no way Stroud is losing to Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, or a man named Zach Wilson. It's not happening. All right, next one. Panthers and Saints. I don't love either one of these teams. I really don't care about this game. Saints are probably slightly better. I guess give me New Orleans laying the 5.5. Mason, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the Saints should bounce back after last week. That first half against the Lions was just atrocious. They kind of came back a little bit, made it close, but Saints should, like you said, they should win this game at home against the Panthers. So I'll trust that.
It should be noted, I think this is going to end up being Jameis Winston. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Carr, another game that he can't finish. So I don't know. I might have to check out
Jameis for a full 60 minutes.
I know. I might have to look up his record against Carolina. Maybe Carolina is the play here. I don't know, JT. What did you see from Carolina this week? I didn't see any coach bump. I don't think they looked any more crisp or executed.
No, they did not look good. I'm going to go with Carolina in the points just because I don't trust the Saints to put anybody away on offense. And Winston's going to keep you in the game just by throwing it right at a linebacker's face. So I think I'll take the points just for the fact of the Saints kind of not putting people away. I don't know if I'll play it, though, just because it's not a super interesting game for me. And I'm not super confident on either side. They're both bad.
Honestly, if you wanted to risk it for the biscuit, I just put together a same game parlay, max out the Saints spread, and Jameis 300 plus yards, 2+ touchdowns, and just say high side of variance, he goes crazy, they blow out Carolina.
What happened?
And also do the same thing just with Carolina coming away with the win. Just because Winston probably threw 3 picks and choked away the game. I'd bet on the variance of Winston, honestly, and try to get it a fat, same game parlay to hit. Or if you're on Price Picks, try to hit 4 out of the 5 legs or something. So don't expect normality from Winston, basically. All right, next one we got to talk about. Let me get myself resituated here. Colts and Bengals. I didn't ask you all about what you guys thought about the Monday night game. So coming out of that, let me hear your initial thoughts about the Bengals. Season not done yet, or was that just kind of a one-night deal? What do you think, JT?
I don't think the season's done per se. I think Jay Browning's okay. I think he's solid. We've seen even the week before, just watching them on film, they didn't look terrible on offense. There wasn't a huge drop-off, honestly, from Burrow. So I think they kind of stay the same way. I think the line's right where it should be. I see the Bengals and Colts as very, very similar as far as roster construction, upside, even the floor of both teams, I think is right in line. I think it's a pick 'em and it's right where it should be. I don't know who's going to win it. I think obviously the Bengals go from a potential Super Bowl contender to maybe a wild card team that probably gets bounced in the first round if they make the playoffs. But I wouldn't say it's tank season per se, even though I'd probably want that if I was a fan.
Mason, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It's a close one. But from what I've seen and remembered, every time the Colts are a 1 to 2 point favorite or dog, they always end up winning. Obviously they didn't lose a game in November. They lost last week. So they always keep it close and they always pull out games on the Saints we were just talking about. Something about the Colts, man. They're hot. Minshew's hot. They still have no Taylor, but I don't think that matters. So I just think the same thing happens again this week. I think they keep it close with the Bengals and somehow they run away with the game on the road. So that's just my gut feeling. No research, no analytics or nothing, but
I think I lean Indianapolis here. I'm not a huge Zach Taylor fan, but Shane Steichen, man, kind of where KOC unfortunately has to deal with Josh Dobbs kind of taking the season that kind of ruined his Coach of the Year chance. I think Shane Steichen's kind of emerged as the guy who took his place in that candidacy. So really been impressed with what he's doing. Granted, Gardner Minshew, one of every 8 games is just going to be a disaster. And it's been a handful of games since the last disaster. So maybe we're due for one here. But man, Michael Pittman's a stud too. I think they'll have a lot easier time running the ball this week than they did against Tennessee. I think I'm going to roll with the Colts. Plus one team that's in the playoff hunt, one that's kind of the outside looking in. I think there's a little bit more to play for maybe for Indianapolis. Not a long distance to travel either, so I don't think home field advantage is crazy here. So I think I'm going to roll with the Colts, trying to get another road win. Next up, Jags and Browns. So obviously a little bit of a TBD on who's going to be under center this week for the Jags. So for that matter, if you like the Browns, this is potentially as good a line you're going to get. We'll see what happens. It was a high ankle sprain. So JT, let me turn it to you. You're way more knowledgeable about this than I am. High ankle sprain. Do you think there's a chance he plays Sunday, or is it probably a 1 to 2 week thing?
No, I'm thinking he's out at least this week. They played on Monday night, and high ankle sprain is the more severe of the two. Low ankle sprain is just A low ankle sprain is kind of like when you're playing basketball and you roll over somebody's foot.
Isn't
Usually
it like
it just hurts for a little bit?
yeah? And it based off what way your leg like rolls or whatever. Like low ankle sprains out, high ankle sprains.
No. So that's like that's just like a medial or lateral. High ankle sprain versus low is just like where on the tendon, like how high up it kind of has like a mini tear essentially. No, because if you have like an ankle sprain on the inside of your leg, you're out for probably like 3 to 4 weeks. At that point.
That's also wild.
But no, I think he'll be back. I don't think he'll be back this week. I think next week we see him. So I think we see CJ Beathard this week, which I just looked up their depth chart. That's who would be backing him up. And I don't know how much I trust. I mean, on the year, I mean, his QBR is 13.2. Now limited reps, but good Lord.
What's that, 12?
13.2 is his QBR. Last game, I guess because they lost in overtime, his QBR was 11.5. Just to give you an idea of what you're getting out of Beathard. So I don't think I can trust the Jags. I was kind of blown because I was going into it kind of looking at the spread of getting 3 points, and I was like, oh, dude, I love the Jags here just with the roster construction.
Sure, yeah.
But QB play does mean something. So I think I'm just going to lay off this one. I don't think there's much to play on it. I think the Browns probably win it.
All right, Mason. We just saw Joe Flacco can still spin it, man. The guy has arm confidence for decades beyond his actual age. So what do we think about this one? Browns favored by 3. Do you think they get it done at home?
See, it's crazy because like I'm thinking of like the final score, right? Like I'm thinking the Browns win 17-14, right?
Oh, you think it's gonna be a push? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the
total's winning there.
Who do I have winning?
Yeah,
probably the Browns.
Okay.
I mean, I hate that because obviously, like we saw the Browns last week, but probably not going to bet it. But yeah, I guess I'll take the Browns.
I think this is going to be a really fun game because like the Jags' run defense has actually been really good this year, and like if the Browns, if you take that away and it just becomes CJ Beathard versus Joe Flacco, like this game could get weird real quick. So I'm actually I'm going to be glued in on this one for no reason. I'm with you, Mace. I'll take Cleveland. I think if you're just looking at 4 units, Jags offense, Jags defense, Browns offense, Browns defense is the best unit. So I'll just roll with that. Plus, they're in the playoff picture. They have to win this game if they're going to keep their chances alive in the wild card. That being said, Houston's hot on Jacksonville's tail in the AFC South. So they both need this W pretty bad. But I don't know. I kind of think Flacco looked all right last Sunday. So I'm not worried about laying the 3 points there. All right, NFC South time, Bucks and Falcons. I have no strong feelings about this one. Actually, maybe I take the Bucks in this one. Decent teaser leg, maybe move it out to 8.5. JT, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a great teaser leg. I'm surprised the line isn't flipped, to be honest. I know the Falcons are at home, but I'd take the Bucks minus 2.5. I would maybe even bet that. So I don't like betting dogs at 2.5. So I'll find a way to push it out somewhere. But yeah, I love the Bucks here. As I just think they're a better team overall. In comparison to the Falcons. So the fact that they're getting points, I love that play.
On this very podcast, Mason, you yourself have said the Bucks are a decent team. I remember when they were 2-1 and you thought they were legit. And you know what? I'll give you something. Like Baker's actually not terrible. He's probably one of the better like QB options they had. And Mike Evans is like you can count on it. Death taxes and Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards in his season. Like it's insane how consistent he is. So Mason, what do you think about this one? Falcons favored at home. Do you think they cover, or are you taking the Bucks like me and JT?
I think I'm taking the Bucks. Baker and Mike Evans have looked good. Even though his size has been an issue, like you can't really see down the field, but somehow he's able to find Mike Evans every game, so that's good.
Going for him. When you're 6'5". Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Falcons are a confusing team to watch and obviously bet on. So like they're favored by 2.5. I'll take the Bucks getting 2.5. So
yeah, and like Tampa Bay's been a secondary, especially for fantasy. Like I know a lot of people in the fantasy community like they stream receivers against the Bucs all the time just because that secondary hasn't played up to expectations. Yep. I just don't know if I trust Desmond Ridder to actually like take advantage of that and like actually push the ball down the field to a Kyle Pitts, to Drake London, to Matt Collins, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think I just have a little bit more faith right now in Tampa Bay. But the NFC South is like the most head scratching division in football. Like it makes no sense. All right, next up, NFC West matchup. 49ers and Seahawks, 10.5 point spread. I think there's an argument to be made Thursday was the best game Seattle's played this year. Maybe not because their defense, but their offense for sure. That was probably their best showcase of the year. And they're still getting 10 plus points against San Francisco. I think that speaks to what that Eagles game was. So let me shut up. Mason, what do you think about this one? Do you think the Niners are able to cover a double-digit spread?
Tough. I I'm not wrong. I believe these two teams played Thanksgiving.
Yes,
don't remember
this is the late game, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Don't remember the final score of that one. I know the Niners won single-handedly, so I don't think that happens again. So I think I would roll with the Seahawks plus 10.5. Even though they're on the road, we saw how they did against the Cowboys last week. I think they kind of just let that one slip away a little bit. So I think they kind of keep this one a little bit closer, maybe lose by 7-8 points, something like that. So nothing against the Niners, but we just saw how they played last weekend. But I think the Seahawks keep it close here.
Taking the team getting 10 points is absolutely not disrespectful to the team favored by 10 points. They're going to be okay. JT, what do you think about this one? I think this line's actually kind of tough.
Man, I wanted to be all over the Seahawks keeping it close just for the 49ers a big win, kind of a statement win, maybe having a little bit of a letdown. But, man, if you look at the matchup on Thanksgiving, man, 31-13 is rough. And I know you can make adjustments when you see a team the second time around. But, like, that was a game in which Brock Purdy didn't even play particularly that crazy. Like, he was 21-30 for 209, a touchdown and a pick. So Brock Purdy played one of his probably worst, or like kind of on the back or the bottom half of his season, and they still won by almost 20 points. So I'm not touching it with 10-foot pole. But it's kind of weird. You look at the matchup, I think that Seattle secondary poses a little bit more of a physicality to the 49ers than the Eagles did last week for sure. And you would think that would slow them down a bit. But looking at their matchup earlier this year, that kind of negates anything I was going to say on that end. So I would just stay away from it personally.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe San Francisco down to 4.5 in a teaser, but even that, like the field goal possibility in a division game.
Yeah, just never know.
You know, like I don't know if there's really value for that. If I have to pick the spread, I'll go Seattle. I think this game finishes 27-20. Like I can't see Seattle getting dogged twice by San Francisco. And also it's a little bit of time. This offense has been clicking for I guess the last 3 to 4 weeks. It's bound to find a little bit of a bump in the road. And I could see this where Purdy maybe makes a mistake or, I don't know. It's just a little bit of miscommunication. It feels like there's only one direction for that offense to go after last week and it's down.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that, it's not like the textbook perfect game that San Francisco can play offensively and Seattle isn't up to kind of hang around. So I'll take 10.5 points a lot. So I'll take Seattle there. All right. JT.
Yeah.
Tell me why the Vikings are going to win. They're favored by 3 in Las Vegas. Tell me why the Fighting Dobbs are collecting. What would this be? Win number 8 of the year? Win 7?
I think we win. I think there's no shot we win by double digits. So I like the Raiders in a teaser leg.
Move it out to 9.
I think it's insane that we're favored, honestly. I don't know. I think we're the better team all around compared to the Raiders, but after seeing what Dobbs did against the Bears, man, like I don't know how you're giving the Raiders any points. So I don't know. I would just push the Raiders out to +9 in a teaser leg if I'm going to bet this game, or even +10, just kind of push it out, give you a little bit more space, because I just don't see us being efficient enough on offense to beat any team by more than 10 points, unless it may be the Panthers. I could see us beating by 10. Anybody else, I think they're hanging within 10.
Let me ask you too, like as someone who has had Devontae Adams win you a couple of fantasy championships, Justin Jefferson now coming back, like where does that put your excitement levels? Just getting to see those two guys on the field.
I'm excited to see Justin Jefferson again. However, I don't think he's going to be involved all that much because Dobbs is just not very clinical by any means. So I think we take some deep shots with him. But then again, I don't know how much KOC wants to put him out there and rush him back into running a 50-yard go. Right. And then might get popped by a safety or something as his first hit back. I don't know that KOC is going to want to do all that. So they might ease him back in a little bit. But ideally, we take some deep shots with him. But I don't know. Not too excited about the Dobbs experience.
Mason, what are you thinking? Both these teams also coming off bye. I wanted to note that. I'll come back to that in just a second. Mason, what do you think about this one? Vikings favored by 3.
Yeah, no major leans. It's good that Jefferson.
It's a sharp line.
Yeah. It's good that Jefferson's back. Been missing him for a little bit. I don't think they use him too much. He's not going to be a difference maker, but yet again, he could. I think I would roll with the Vikings, but then again, I don't know. I just hate the Raiders. Something about the Raiders, man. I just can't stand them. But yeah, no analytics. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah.
Must-win game.
I think the other fun matchup in this one is Max Crosby versus either of those tackles. Hopefully we get to see him and Darisaw go one-on-one because I think they're like two of the best and two of the more underrated players, at least by mainstream. If you were to ask 100 people on the street who Christian Darisaw is, most people don't know. Probably a few more people know who Max Crosby is, but they don't put him up there with Garrett and Watt and the Bosas and so on, or at least Nick Bosa at least. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Vikings. I think the Vikings strengths perfectly align with where the Raiders strengths are. Also, like when both teams are on a bye, like no disrespect to Antonio Pierce, but I'll take the actual head coach versus the guy who's just a former player and keeping culture and spirits high, but I mean, maybe that's, who knows? Like I might eat these words in a week, but I'll trust Kevin O'Connell to get it done. Also, he's had a bye week in his career. AP hasn't, so I'll take that into consideration too and say the Vikings cover the 3. All right, then we get to the second to last 4:00 game we got to talk about. Bills and Chiefs. Man, let me get y'all's thoughts on this. So I had something when I was talking about power rankings where I think if there were options available to like replace Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, I think the Chiefs would cut them. I think they would legitimately cut those guys. At least Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore at this point is like cuttable NFL player. But there's just no other options available that could be better than a former second round pick. So let me get your thoughts on that. But then also let me hear your thoughts. Chiefs favored by 2.5 at home, and a game that the Bills, if they want to make the playoffs, this is a must have. So JT, take it away.
Yeah, when you talk about the receiving core for the Chiefs, I mean, they've got to be bottom 5 in the league. Yeah. Like, I think that's pretty, I can say that with confidence, pretty much. Especially the receivers. I mean, you don't have Kelsey there. Where are you throwing the ball? Like, it's a bunch of XFL guys running around there.
Like, Rashee Rice is the only guy who's like,
yeah, Rashee Rice, and like we're high on him because he's young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be, if he was, 6 year in, you'd be like, yeah, he's a guy.
And he's a yak guy.
Because he's young.
He's a yak guy too. Like they don't have anybody who can win one-on-one. Like go beat, Devin Witherspoon one-on-one. Like go, something like that. They just can't.
Yeah, this line is interesting. I think I would take the Bills money line, to be honest. As far as the betting goes, I mean they need the game to stay kind of in the hunt, I guess. And then the Chiefs are just kind of struggling to kind of be that prolific offense that we've known them to be because they're missing all types of weapons. Like the guys still have to catch the ball. And that's been an issue for them.
No doubt. Mason, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I also like Bills money line here. Talk about a gauntlet, though, dude. They just played the Eagles 2 weeks ago, had that game, slipped away. Then you go on by, got the Chiefs upcoming this weekend, and then you got the Cowboys week after that. So like you said, it's a must-win game. But yeah, I think that bye week really helps them. They'll be ready to go in Arrowhead. I think they take them down. I think the offense kind of clicks a little bit, defense playing better. So yeah, just gut play, like the Bills here.
Yeah, I'm actually with you. That was the exact same play I was going to take. Bills money line. You could also use them as a teaser leg 8.5 with no great receivers. I just can't see a 2-possession win for Kansas City, if I'm honest. Also, like you mentioned, the schedule's just been an absolute gauntlet, like you said, for Buffalo. And but this is like the win they need because Cleveland's playing without their starting quarterback the rest of the year. Pittsburgh's currently holding a playoff spot. That's probably a little fluky and probably not going to happen. And then you got Shane Steichen and the Colts. So like there's a chance they get up to the 60, depending on what the Colts do, assuming the Steelers and the Browns don't make it to the 7 seed. And I think this is the win that kind of puts them back into that. And then the other side of that is like talking schedule. The Chiefs' schedule after this game is a cakewalk. They really don't have anything too scary up ahead. So I think this is the last loss we see from Kansas City. Then they get back on track, momentum going into the playoffs, which is still probably not going to be pretty considering it's Rashee Rice and like Travis Kelce by themselves. But I think this will be their last loss of the regular season. Then they'll win out against a pretty bad schedule moving forward. So, wow. Squad riding the Bills money line. Stamp it now. Money to be made there at plus money. Actually, plus 120. Sign me up for that all day. I like it. Then we get to the last 4:00 game, Broncos and Chargers. Spoiler alert. One half of this is half my teaser leg lock of the week. I'm taking the Denver Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos money line. JT, what do you think?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the
Broncos are the better team here. Am I right? The Broncos are definitely the better side.
I think they are at this point, which is insane to say. You asked me this like week 3. I'm like, you're joking, right?
Oh, if we go back 365 days, I am laughing at you saying that the Broncos are better than the Chargers. For sure.
Dude, I absolutely love that play as a teaser. Like you said, the Broncos are just a better team. The Chargers couldn't beat the Patriots by more than 6 when they quite literally shut them out. That is insane. Yeah. That is insane.
The Chargers covered a 5.5 point spread by winning 6-0.
That's
like what
it's
the
absurd.
hell?
It's absurd. It is literally absurd. So yeah, give me the other team, whoever it might be, plus the points.
Anybody but New England against the Chargers. Give me that.
Anybody but New England and the Panthers.
Carolina, yeah. Basically.
Sorry, Mason.
Yeah, no disrespect.
I've got like 8 words. The Chargers are on my no bet list, so Broncos.
But also, I think Russell Wilson's
like
on your bet list, so you're
Yeah.
kind of you're.
I know. I'm not touching it
it.
with a 10-foot pole, but if I had a lean, yeah, give me the Broncos.
No.
But dude, at least Russ is good for 1 dot a week. That touchdown throw to Cortland Sutton was bananas. I was like, yo, holy shit, like old school Russ coming out. So yeah, plus that defense. Like I think it's like night and day between the two sides. One plays actual good defense, one just got a shutout against Bailey Zappi and Rain. Like, low bar. Anyways, Sunday Night Football. If the Eagles let me down, I said this last week, if this Eagles 49ers game is a blowout, my weekend's ruined. And my weekend was ruined because it was. This game's got to be good. I'm taking the Eagles plus 3.5. I think this is where they get back on track. I know they were banged up. I think San Francisco, if they play their best game, I think San Francisco's absolute best game, everyone's at 100%, is the best game any team can play in the NFL. I think that's kind of what we saw last week, basically. So only one way for the Eagles to go, and that's up. And you know what? It doesn't mean anything because it's just words. Dallas can't win big games. I'll say it. Like, I think they lose another big game. I could see them splitting just because division, but I think this is just another choke job here for Dallas. But if they get this win, Dak probably is my MVP frontrunner. So I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. JC, take it away.
Throw the bag at Eagles money line. They're not losing this game. They're not losing this game. They're not losing to two opponents back to back in the NFC that they're stacked against in the power rankings. No shot. The team's just too good. The Eagles are too good of a team to lose two games like that back to back. And you're going to get the Eagles money line at plus 150. Make your money now.
Honestly, I might put together a 3-teamer with all these road underdogs that we was talking about: Bills, Broncos, and Eagles. And let me get back to you on that.
And
but
like
also,
the Cowboys, they never fail to get the national media hype, and it blows my mind. It's every single season. Every season. Like we see it time and time again. They get hyped up, and then Vegas even buys into it, and then they disappoint. And it happens every year. I don't know why it still happens, but here it goes again.
Yep. They are the equivalent to like when you overfill a balloon. You watch it get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it has your attention, and then it pops, and then it's all gone. Like I think that's Dallas just about every year. So I think that's kind of a Mike McCarthy thing. So that's kind of where I stand on that. Mason, what do you think about this game?
Feed me the boys.
All right. Even past the field goal hook. So let me case for
give me
Dallas.
the Cowboys. Third straight game at home. They're not dropping another one to the Eagles in the same year.
Your CD stand.
Yeah, CD's kind of nice, but that's not even like the reason. Like I don't know. I just think the Cowboys win this first big game, like you were saying, TJ. They haven't had one all year. They need it. Dak needs it for his MVP reign. So, and then they're 3.5 point favorites. Like I feel like Vegas knows something. I don't know. It's kind of
Dak wins an MVP. I can't be involved in discussions about MVPs anymore. I just can't.
And what really kills you there, JT, is like had Kirk Cousins not got hurt.
facts.
Like
I know
low key, like he's just deserving. And like their numbers, if like Kirk stayed healthy and you just like ration it out for like the rest of the year, numbers would be pretty damn similar.
I think like the week before last, people were like, "Oh, MVP frontrunner Jalen Hurts ties Kirk Cousins for passing touchdowns," and it was like last week. And Kirk hasn't played for like 5 weeks.
Just like how Andrew Booth's 6 pick sixes away from tying Deron Bland.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, should we be bragging about that? So actually, I just want to put this down. I might have to just throw a little some on this little half unit. Eagles, Broncos, Bills money line, road favorites. Road underdogs. All that comes out to plus 1132. And just for the math of it, $10. It's you 123. So yeah, $100. You're talking about over 1,200 beans. Like, dude. I don't know. I like Philadelphia here. And now, Grant, let me get back to your point, Mason. If there is a big game for Dallas to win against San Francisco or Philadelphia, the easiest one for them to win would be the one at home against Philadelphia, who I think is slightly worse than San Francisco. So like if they're going to win a big game, this is the cop-out one to get. So like I could see where this does happen, but I don't know. Because Philadelphia doesn't have any wiggle room now. They lost to San Francisco. If they lose this game and San Francisco wins, they're not the 1 seed. Like they have got to win this game if they want to stay the 1 seed. Anyways, we kind of opened the week on a stinker. This one's not quite a stinker, but Monday Night Football is not great. Dolphins, Titans. The Titans secondary has been brutal this year. Same game parlay with Tua over 250 yards. Tyreek anytime touchdown, 100 plus yards. Jalen Waddle, I'll probably throw something in there as well. I think this is a game where the Dolphins look like the Dolphins. They rout a team with a losing record. They kind of like they meet expectations basically. Mason, what do you think?
Yeah, if they don't win by 2 touchdowns, then I will eat my words. So I'll take the minus 13.
Yeah, and I'm not huge into taking big spreads, but I'll lay the 13 with Miami here. Like I think
the Commanders defense and the Titans defense is very similar. So if they can do that to the Commanders, they can do that to the Titans, especially at home this time around. So
that's the one thing I can say the Titans have is after watching how Washington play Tyreek Hill, they know exactly what the fuck not to do. I have no idea what the Commanders were thinking there. I know it's a new DC, new DBs coach, but like absolute worst case scenario, worst game plan you could have possibly had against potentially the MVP. JT, what do you think on this one? Huge spread. So make the case for the Titans if you have one.
Honestly, yeah, I was kind of leaning Titans just for kind of trusting Vrabel to keep a game close and not be embarrassed. I don't know. He's just a coach that I trust a lot, and Derrick Henry's been kind of on the upward trend as far as just how effective he's looked in the run game. Looks like he's got a little bit more of a burst than he did early in the year.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't expect him to win the game, obviously, and I just think it's something where we might see the Titans successfully limit possessions. To where you might be able to keep it within 13. I don't know if I'd bet it, but that would be kind of my lean on that side.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the game script then, if you're comfortable taking Titans 13, I would bet something close to the under or, try to do a teaser or something like that, maybe move the total up because odds are like what you're saying, it ends up being like Miami and New England earlier this year, 24-14. And it's just really like New England took possessions away from Miami so they couldn't put up more points. So that's why the score stayed close. And 10 points gets you a Titans win here. So, I don't hate that whatsoever. So like Titans plus 13 under 47.5. I could totally see it. I think that's a live possibility right there. So don't hate that chat whatsoever. Also, like Will Levis is like variance. Like this guy, like will chuck it deep. Like he will not think about it. So he will solely do it. So if you're going to err on the side of variance, maybe Will Levis actually keeps you close if you're a Titans fan too. So anyways, long tangents aside, let's talk locks of the week. You guys have your plays. I've already kind of alluded to what I want to do. I am going to take that 3-team road underdog parlay just because I think it's fun. What was it? Broncos, Bills, and Eagles, just to feel something, My lock of the week is a teaser with the Broncos moving out to 8.5 and the Texans in a pick 'em. That's going to be my lock of the week. JT, take us away.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think, honestly. I had some decent plays. I think I'm going to go probably a teaser play. I'm just trying to decide how I want to play it.
Okay, I can give you a second. I've also bet Lions -3 already, just for transparency. A couple of bets I've already made. Mason, do you have your lock ready to go? You got a 3-seamer for this week?
I'm looking for him now. Sorry, I wasn't prepared.
No, you're good. I think this is actually a really sharp week. Like I think the lines are all like just about where I would have put them. So like kudos to the DraftKings in Vegas, and I think they hit this one on the head.
So I'm going to go a teaser between the Bucks and the Vikings. So I'm going to push the Bucks out to plus 8.5 at the Falcons. And then I'm going to flip the Viking spread from -3 to +3 against the Raiders. I think if we lose, it's probably by a field goal or less. Yeah. And I think we end up squeaking it out by 3. So I'm trying to flipping it to try and get a win off of a close game on my side. Also, honorable mention, I thought about making this my lock of the week, but I shied away from it just because the spread is so tight. But you can go on DraftKings and you can bet the game props, and for the Vikings to win by 1 to 6 is plus 275.
Yeah, that's your alternate way of doing that.
I say that's another way to kind of get some plus money, maybe ladder it a little bit. Also, you can kind of do, if you think they win by 7 or more, but not more than like 12, so 7 to 12 being the winning spread, it jumps up to plus 450. And that's just a 1-game result where you might be able to get a ton of money kind of playing a really tight spread, but I think that's where it lands.
And honestly, if I'm betting on the Vikings, instead of doing money line, I'd put half unit on each of those. Yeah, as long as the Vikings win by 12 or less, you're winning your money back. Yeah, I like that play a lot. It's actually kind of a spicy way of going about it. All right, Mason, let's hear it. What's our 3-2?
Ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, comes out to plus 356.
Oh, Amy.
First leg, Colts over the Bengals. Second leg, Seahawks plus 14.5. So you can lose by 2 touchdowns and you still win. And then the Cowboys money line.
Oh, okay. Having it all come down to Sunday night. All right. I dig it. I dig it. I think you're going to be wrong, but that's okay. That's what we do this for.
All right. It's all right.
That's all right. We'll see.
That's all we bet, man.
Exactly. 100%. Any other player props you guys got your eyes on this week?
I'm interested to see what Justin Jefferson's props are at. Just returning from injury and a completely different offense at this point. They haven't dropped yet, but that's something to kind of monitor. I'm trying to think of what other.
I've already said all the Dolphins receivers. I'm in on that, especially Tyreek. Another good week. Anytime touchdown, 100+ yard. I think he goes crazy. I think Olave could have a big game against Carolina. I think that's a secondary he can expose.
Winston interception prop.
Oh yeah.
Just take the over. I'm assuming, just make some money. He'll throw one. If he's starting and playing the whole game, man, you give him 35 attempts, one of them's going to a linebacker.
Yeah. No doubt.
Or safety, probably. I'm trying to think of what else I would maybe.
Same thing with Zach Wilson, too. I think so.
I think I'd look to play Amari Cooper props. He had kind of a quiet game last week. 3 for 34, 3 catches, 34 yards. I think in a second game with Flacco at the helm. The Jags have a decent secondary, but I just don't see. I think it's kind of matchup independent. I think Amari Cooper is. I don't think it really matters who's on him. So I see, if his line's at 49.5, maybe low 50s, I might look to play the over on his receiving prop.
Another name I want to shout out is Calvin Ridley. I don't have the numbers exactly in front of me and they haven't been published yet, but if you just go on Thursday, just Google PFF man zone splits and they'll have like fantasy, basically receiver productions versus man and zone, and then percentages that teams play man and zone. Cleveland, number 1 in the league in man coverage percentage, and their top 2 targets, to Jacksonville it is, against man coverage is Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. And one of those 2 guys is out for the year, basically. So I think this is just a matchup that kind of plays into Ridley's hands if he can get away from MJ Emerson or Denzel Ward. So it's one that should make sense for Calvin Ridley, given Kirk's out and the man
quarterback issue is the only thing.
And plus, like Beathard, I'm throwing it to my best guy. That's Calvin Ridley. So potential option there. Other than that, yeah, not a whole other props that I'm like dying to play yet.
I think Josh Allen props. I think he kind of goes off the shirt. I got a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that. And honestly, everybody who's not Stephon Diggs, like they're coming off the bye. I think they've probably schemed up a ton for James Cook as a receiver, Dalton Kincaid as a receiver,
Kincaid here.
Yeah, so like I don't know, maybe Gabe Davis, like, does he do it to Mike Hughes again? Mike Hughes is
Gabe Davis annual 3 touchdowns, 3 catches.
He made it a staple the first time against Kansas City. Does he do it like again? Like that would be crazy. But otherwise, I'm kind of laying off that one. But awesome. Little player props, little locks of the week, a little week 14 preview. What more could you ask for here out of the Hurry Up offense? So that's going to do it for us this week. Be sure to come back next Wednesday when we preview week 15 of the NFL season. As always, I want to say thank you to JT and Mason for giving me some of their time. Really appreciate them giving their insight as well. But like I said, that's going to do it for this week. Be sure to come back next week for more of the Hurry Up offense. Till then, we are signing off.